G'day YouTube, TurboTristan here. In today's video we've got some blueprints, we've got some measurements, and we've got some carbon fibre that we're going to cut up. And I have been working with a company I'm very excited to introduce. Fairly new company, but they're big in the racing scene and big in aero. So check this out. Here's some blueprints. Here is the actual prototype. Now I've been working with a company called CIRCUITWORX. And CIRCUITWORX make the awesome Aero that you see on the bonnets of plenty of time attack cars, world time attack cars, and just cooling panels. We've got heel plates for underneath your pedals when you're racing. Everyone runs these really cool ground effects Aero side skirts. These guys here. Now I am in Melbourne and CIRCUITWORX is in Sydney, and I've been working with them for the last few weeks. These are manufactured in Australia, designed and built, powder coated, laser cut, everything in Australia. And these ones I'm holding in my hand are actually to fit Zach Baldy's Ronald race car. And I've got a set of them just over on the bench. They're a little bit longer and bigger for the EK sedan. They make these for EG. They'll be making them for EK hatch as well. And these are 5-inch ground effects side skirts that bolt on, and just really awesome aero, just to help guide the air around the car and stop it from going under the car, and just also smooth out the air. I didn't invent these. The guys at CIRCUITWORX didn't invent them, but they sure did design them. And these are being used on all kinds of high-speed cars and time attack cars. Just helps with all the airflow around the side of the car, off the tires. So we've got the deflector here to shoot the air around the tires and around the car. And then at the back, we've got any air that's going along the side of the car, kicking out and away from the back wheels. So in today's video, we're going to get these on the car. We're going to get the bonnet hacked up. My Piesa Hub carbon fiber bonnet's going to be chopped up. We're going to put a vent in the bonnet to help duct away from the radiator and also the intake manifold, take all the heat away from the intake and the radiator. We've also got a dead pedal, which is a custom built one, especially for Civics, that rivets into your floor. And we've also got a heel plate. I wanted to work with CIRCUITWORX because they were open to hear my ideas and some designs that I wanted to implement in my race car by having a nice big sturdy heel plate for my big clown shoes, so that it's a nice flat surface. In the floor of a Civic, once you strip it out, the floor is all corrugated, which is for strength, but there's also a few dips in there and a couple of big holes, which I don't even know why they're in there, but they're in there. I'm sure Honda knew what they were doing. This will just smooth out and flatten the floor and give you a nice level playing field for your heels to rest on while you're racing and ripping all those gears, and a nice lightweight dead pedal to match. So very race car inspired. Big shout out to Mark at CIRCUITWORX. We've been talking for the last month or so. I'm not going to take any of the credit for the designing, but I was the man in the south side of the country that was on the tape measure, measuring the car, measure 100 times so that we make this cut once. I've already dummied them up on the car and everything fits absolutely perfect. So those measurements, precision, the designing from CIRCUITWORX was amazing. So I'm going to get to work sticking all this in the car. It's not too far away from Honda Nats, and I really want to get this race car build done, tested, take it to the track long before Honda Nats, and give the car a full rundown. So now the guys also sent me some additional vents. I'm not sure where I'm going to put these yet, but they're also another option. I think they're guard vents or extra hood vents. They designed the little kicker on the top, and they're already bent in a special pattern that aids in aerodynamics, but also aids in heat extraction, so getting the gases out from underneath the car. Same on the bonnet vent. So that's awesome. And I'm also going to fit some bonnet pins to this as well. You need those when you go to the track, especially if you've got a carbon bonnet. These are light, they can catch the air. You don't want them blowing up and snapping off, or you don't want your bonnet to fly off anyway. So make sure you pin it down when you're at the racetrack. Now the other cool thing about all their products, not only are they manufactured in Australia, but everything is laser cut or water jet cut. I'm not sure what the process is, but perfectly cut out with their logo in there, all tapped, ready to go. Stainless steel so it won't rust. These are the plates that hold on the side skirts. You get your own instructions and also template. So we're going to cut this out with the scissors first and position it on the bonnet where I want it, mark it before we cut any holes. Other vents that I've used on Rhonda and on Ronald in the past, cheap, crappy eBay vents that we got from God knows what country, didn't have any instructions, there's no templates. You basically had to line it up with sticky tape and just start cutting on your bonnet, which is not a good feeling. It always makes you feel uneasy and it always makes you feel like you're putting it in the wrong spot. So with this, we're going to be able to move this around, position it, measure it 10 times before we do any cutting. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to get it in the car. No joke, it's been probably an hour and a half of measure, 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 align, align, align. And I've finally got this to where I'm happy. It sits just past the radiator. So the radiator sits about there. So there's room for the thermo fans to kick the air back and up and out, which is my science for that. I've taped everything off and I've pre-drilled the holes, and I'm just about to get my little saw out and start cutting, and then we can drop this in for the final time and put the screws in or the rivets in. Now, if you have a metal bonnet, CIRCUITWORX sends you some black pop rivets. If you try and do that on carbon fiber, you'll crack your carbon fiber. So I'm going to use some small nylock nuts and some small washers just to support it so it doesn't over tighten or crack anything. This is what I'm most nervous about. So I'm going to get that done and show you what it looks like afterwards. Pretty G'd up though. It's going to look sick with the CIRCUITWORX logo there and the huge vents in the bonnet. Being that I measured it 50,000 times, the cutting part wasn't as nerve-wracking as you might expect. There we have it. It's all ready to be bolted in and screwed in. That's the view through the vent. So it's going to be extracting the heat from the radiator, which is around about here. The fans push it through. It's going to come up over the intake manifold and out that way. So pretty awesome. And if you see that from the side, you can see that raised profile there, which is going to make the air kick up and just shoot straight over the car, pushing down on the car. Because it's kicking the air up, it's going to be pushing down and then also sucking out all the hot air from that vent, which is going to be rising anyway. As we know, hot air rises, but with the positioning of the vent, it's going to be sucking air through the front and out of the bonnet. So I'm super duper excited for that. The guys at CIRCUITWORX, Mark, has knocked it out of the park. And another cheeky part of putting a big bonnet vent in there is, if you remember the carbon fiber episode, I accidentally nicked the bonnet right there where I was cutting out the webbing on the back. You can see that there to make it clear the K series. But now we don't have that issue because we don't have any webbing. Alrighty, so for context, we have the factory side skirt. For street duties, these just clip on, clip off, really, really easy. Anyone that's ever played with a Civic knows you just pretty much undo the screws underneath and just kick it forward and it pops off. And then you can leave these brackets here and run the racing side skirts. We've got those here. Now, doesn't really take a lot of brain power to work this out, but it is pretty tricky to balance everything and do it if you're on your own. If you had a friend to help you with this, I don't have any friends, but if you had a friend to help you, it'd be much easier. I was pretty much put the brackets on the side skirt with the supplied bolts, all stainless hardware and billet alloys, even a little rubber gasket there as well, so it doesn't scratch up the powder coating. Bolt it together and then position it where you need the side skirts to go, and then mark it with your hole punch and then drill it out with a 6mm drill bit. And the good thing about these is there's plenty of room either side. So once you have the holes drilled, loosely put in the bolts so they're snug but you can still move them, reassemble, line everything up so that the holes are in the correct position, and then after that you can do it one-handed. Check this out. Absolutely perfect fitment everywhere, even at the front. Absolutely nailed it. How about the guy on the tape measure? All me. Inside the doors, lines up perfectly with the frame rail. Everything is mint. Absolutely awesome job. So I've been hammering through this. I went to Bunnings and got some little black screws and some nylock nuts, and they're all fitted up now, so that's sweet. And I've got the side skirts on both sides. Absolutely perfect fitment. As you can see here, and the attention to detail, like the little curving of the edge there so you don't stab yourself on it, all the way along. And the little kicker there, I really love that, just kicking the air around the tyre, and of course perfectly fits to the seam there of the body. And would you believe, never met Mark, just talking to him online. So if you are a time attack guy or circuit racing guy, or even just a street guy who wants to make your car look like a race car, definitely hit up CIRCUITWORX. This is absolutely awesome. It's going to work so well at the track. But we're not done yet. We've got some more stuff from CIRCUITWORX. We've got the heel plate over here, which I'm going to smash into the car now. This couldn't be easier to install. I'm pretty much going to send it straight away. And then same thing with the dead pedal. I'm going to make sure that that fits and rivet that straight into the floor. It's going to be unreal. That literally took me maybe 3 minutes. Let's just say 5. So there you can see the CIRCUITWORX dimple dyed dead pedal and also the heel plate. I moved it all the way over to the left, as you can see here, because we do need to put a foot plate down here for the side intrusion bars on the roll cage, which is coming in a future episode. But man, check that out. That looks so good, so professional. Dimple dyed, absolutely awesome. I'm so stoked with how that turned out. And the side skirts and the hood scoop. All the guys at Honda Nationals, make sure you get yourself some of these. Anyone building a race car, you need some of those. Now we do have some spare vents. I'm not sure where these are going to go or if I'm even going to use them for now. Just going to hang on to them. I'm going to drop a link for CIRCUITWORX in the description. Check it out. Fresh company doing all the best stuff, and it's Australian made, which is the big thing for me, which is why I reached out to them and why I wanted to partner up and help them grow their business by doing all the measurements after hours and back and forward and running around and prototyping and printing out big sheets of paper and making cardboard templates and stuff from the other side of the country just so I could help these guys out. How good does that look? Man, I'm so stoked. And yep, this is genuine. I am genuinely chuffed with that. It just looks absolutely perfect. Fitting the Sparko bonnet latches was pretty easy. I got these from Concept Race Gear. And you can see here, nice and streamlined. Now these aren't set up because I've got to pull everything apart to paint the bay. And I've got to take the latch out. So I won't be running that anymore. But yeah, just some little mods there. And I measured and made a hole right next to the rubber there. So once I do have everything all lined up again, the bay painted, the new engine in, I'll be able to pull those down so it's tight on those little rubbers so it won't rattle or move around at all. But I'm pretty chuffed with today's work. It looks like a freaking race car. It is the next day and I've pushed the Civic outside so I can see it in all its glory with all of its new Aero parts on it. Check this out. So it's really starting to look like a race car now. That grille in the bonnet is amazing. I love the louvers. And if you check it out from the side profile, you'll see it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. So we're going to get the air roll up the bonnet, hit this first kicker, kick the air up, and then go over the car and suck the air out of the radiator and out of the engine bay. Next on the list is the side skirts. These are 5-inch deep, so they are quite low. These are the track use ones. Nice and rounded off here so you don't rip your ankles out when you walk past it. And a little kicker at the end. Absolutely awesome. Comes with all the hardware. And let's see that interior outside in the sunlight again. Looking absolutely awesome from the last video. I've got to get myself a fire extinguisher so I can use my honed fire extinguisher bracket, which is in here as well, just down there on the floor. We'll get to that in another video. I think you'll agree, these look absolutely awesome. Big shout out to CIRCUITWORX. The side skirts and the bonnet vent look amazing, but let's not forget the interior and the heel plate down here and the dead pedal underneath there. Now, a couple of people have asked why I've moved it so far over that way. It's because I've got to put a side intrusion bar plate down here on the floor so we can work around that. I have tested it out. My heel does rest right in this little dip here, and I'm on and off the pedal. I can heel and toe just fine. Everything's all good, and the dead pedal is in the perfect location. So that is a win-win-win. Looking awesome. Link is in the description for CIRCUITWORX. Check them out, hit them up, tell them I sent you. It helps me out and it helps them out. So if you don't want to spend the huge dollars and get stuff imported from overseas, American brands, which is actually made in China, this is manufactured in Australia, designed in Australia, cut, powder coated, everything here in Australia. That's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to spool up, bring the boost, or in this case, bring the bois, and we'll see ya in the next video. Cheers.